It was a sad story about contamination. It's about how people were cut off from growing their gardens, and this program was set up to conquer that and kind of say we still know how to do these things and it will continue in the future regardless of contamination.
For decades until the 1970s, Alcoa, Reynolds, and General Motors released toxic chemicals into the St. Lawrence River, just upriver from the Akwesasne Mohawk territory. A more than 20-year-old lawsuit resulted in the settlement to restore habitat and wildlife, thus creating the Akwesasne Cultural Restoration Program.
Sego, my name is Barbara Tarbal. I'm the program manager for the Akwesasne Cultural Restoration Program. The program started in 2014, but it all began probably 20 years ago. The funding for this program is part of a legal settlement that we had for injuries to our community for contamination released by Alcoa. The settlement with Alcoa is based specifically on contamination to our resources and how we use those resources. So community members in Akwesasne, we found that the relationship with fishing, hunting, trapping, our traditional medicines, and how we grow gardens, that was the biggest damage caused by contamination in our community. So the settlement for cultural impacts provided the funds for us to establish this program that addresses that. So we revitalized those specific activities.
Saint Regis Mohawk Tribal Chief Eric Thompson explains the early stages and creation of the program with the settlement funds.
It's designed to retrieve and to preserve language, cultural practices associated with the environment. There were settlement funds, a committee was put together, the three councils worked together in order to set the framework for it and work in cooperation with one another. The committee members were put on and the program was developed from there. So it's a rejuvenation, I'd say, of these areas that we've been deprived of because of the environmental degradation that Akwesasne has suffered through at the hands of these large corporations.
Office Manager Amber Dawn LaFrance tells us how the Master Apprenticeship Program began and its success.
In the beginning, when the program first started, we just had a small staff, like the admin staff from the NRD program. So the very first thing we had to do was hire our teachers, and then we had to hire the apprentices. So we started off with 8 teachers and 2 language specialists. We tried to get as many fluent speakers as we could to be teachers who grew up with traditional activities, with hunting, trapping, gardening. They did that for a living, or they learned from their parents and their grandparents. We call them masters. And then we put a call out for apprentices. So an apprentice is someone who's interested in learning a category and becoming a master themselves. We had over 100 applicants from people who were interested, but we only had 16 positions available for them. For me, I was just really hoping that people were learning, that our apprentices were gonna be those masters that we dreamed about at the end. And I think they have, and I've been really impressed and amazed by some of them, especially with language. So in the beginning, like, we hired some people who didn't have any language expertise at all, or language knowledge or skills, and now to see them 4 years later, they can teach entire workshops from start to finish, and they can use Mohawk through the whole time. And it's just like really amazing. I'm really proud of them, and it's like, to me, a success just to see that individual, you know, make it this far and still be here. I know they're going to be the masters that we thought.
Program consultant Dehayayage Alfred speaks on the major accomplishments he's witnessed from the program.
When we think about the reason we're doing it, it's so that people in Akwesasne can have some degree of justice for the massive harm that was done over generations. Bringing the community from the point where if we didn't do anything, those traditions would have been lost by now. Even in the space of one generation, it was that bad where there was only a few people that were carrying on. It was going to be lost. So now we have a group of people that are carrying on those traditions. So the major accomplishment is saving, for at least another generation or two, those cultural practices. And us building the language into this program, the fact that Ganyageha is more alive, I think, because of the interaction that these people have with the natural environment, those words, that understanding, and the use of the language in relation to natural resources and cultural practice, it's made the Mohawk language even more alive.
We're being proactive. We're ensuring that these practices stay alive within our community, including the language.
I think what we're doing here is needed. There's a lot of people who want to learn traditional activities and who want to learn language.
This coming September 15th and 16th, we have a 2-day event open to the whole community. We hope people can come out to, and this is where all the apprentices get to kind of showcase what they've learned throughout the past year and share that knowledge, provide a hands-on experience, provide workshops, and just kind of give back to the community in all the categories. And there'll be food provided, so traditional food will be cooked and available to the community.